Was he even on the list?
First year. First ballot Hall of Famer.
First ballot. Yep.
What?
Yep.
Joe Mauer in the same category as Ken Griffey Jr. and...
Save it! Save it! Save it!
No, there's your cold open you wanted.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of Ride the Pine. I am Sean Sproat. That is Cameron May and Kenny Hutton. We are a three-man crew today. Adam Freeman couldn't make it tonight. We're going to talk some NFL playoffs. We're going to discuss our pick'em, and I think we might be crowning a new champion. Cameron will let us know in the coming minutes here. We're also we need to discuss the Hall of Fame vote in Major League Baseball as well. Before we get to that, though, one really quick announcement. I don't know if you noticed from the last episode, but we've changed format a little bit. It's not going to be full hour-long episodes anymore. The goal is to cut it down to about 30 minutes, mainly because it's more digestible for you guys, and also it makes the editor's job a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and jump into it,
And it's just
guys.
way past my bedtime.
Way past. So Hall of Fame vote. That came out about an hour ago at the time of recording. Major League Baseball officially has a brand new first-time Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. Actually, two. Is Adrian Beltre? So, Adrian Beltre gets in 95.1%. Todd Helton gets in 79.7% of the vote. And Joe Mauer just gets over the 75% at 76.1%. Any surprises there, guys, out of those three? Which one? I already know which one Kenny wants to talk about. So, Kenny, you want to start us off?
Joe Mauer wasn't anywhere near my list. Like, top three greatest catchers of all time, and he is not even in the discussion for me, right? Like, think of all the great catchers. You got Johnny Bench, you got Pudge, and then just like the modern era of catchers, Buster Posey, Yadier Molina, all three of the Molina brothers, I mean, are great catchers. I get it, two journeymen. But putting Joe Mauer in the same category as Ken Griffey Jr. is mind-boggling to me. He shouldn't have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Not to say what Joe Mauer did wasn't good for the time that he played in, but not even on the radar.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, and then Billy Wagner falls 5 votes shy. Like, come on. There is, 2 writers who turned in blank ballots? Come on, guys.
Yep. That's what I thought you were going to mention, because whenever we did our, a prediction show, or I guess our preview show for the Hall of Fame vote, you were pretty high on Wagner, and he just missed the cut. Just barely missed it. And Mauer gets in over him, which is crazy. I mean, Mauer has the offensive numbers. He hit over 300. He's got... Well, actually, you know what? Does he really have the offensive numbers? He only hit 2,100 hits and some change.
At a catcher position, though, I mean, career batting average over 300. I mean, his WAR was still 55.2, which usually they say around 60 and up.
Yeah.
Is generally you can get into the Hall of Fame, but a first ballot at that seems aggressive and egregious. And we had even talked about Gary Sheffield, his last chance. Did not make it, 63.9%.
Which was significantly higher than the last few years. He was getting more votes, but yeah, that's not going to do it.
I mean, 2,689 hits, 509 home runs, 9-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger. I feel like Andy won a World Series. I feel like they could have found some room to put him in.
Yeah.
And the swing's iconic.
Kenny, you were about to say something?
Yes, I was. So this article that I'm looking at as my source says Mauer is just the 3rd catcher elected on the first ballot. There is a distinct population of baseball fans, a demographic, if we will, that think Yadier Molina is not a Hall of Famer, let alone a first ballot Hall of Famer. All that is out the window.
Correct.
Yeah.
If that is your argument, fine. but you're an idiot, and I will not listen to you anymore because if Joe Mauer is a first ballot Hall of Famer, they need to build a goddamn Yadier Molina wing.
I mean, the best defensive catcher ever, right?
If Joe Mauer got 293 votes, and I don't know off the top of my head how many votes there actually are out there to get, but if he got 293 votes, you should double that for Yadier Molina, without question.
And remember, and hopefully maybe we can wrap it up with this. There's nobody who loves the smell of their own farts more than the baseball writers of America. They are a pretentious group of people, and it would not shock me if they stonewall Molina. But this is precedent, right? Like, I don't think this guy was a Hall of Famer because, again, he only caught really for half of his career. I'm trying to actually see the actual number.
2004 to 2008.
But he wasn't a catcher. He transitioned to a first baseman due to concussions. I do know that. Okay, 10 years as primary catcher. Okay, 04 to 13. I mean, I guess. I mean,
I don't have a problem with him getting
in,
but I think it's a bit ridiculous that he's a first ballot. I agree with your point on that.
I think I kind of have a problem with him getting in general. Not just first ballot. First ballot is egregious. I said this back on our preview show. I think Joe Mauer is Hall of very good. I don't think he's Hall of Fame, and he just got in on first ballot. That's mind-numbing.
I do think we let too many people into the Hall of Fame.
I think it's oversaturated.
All Hall of Fames. Yeah. I think we get to a point where you start doing, well, they were the best of their era out of the 13 options there were. It's like, okay,
baseball could be even worse. Baseball could be even more saturated if we didn't have the whole steroid issue, the whole steroid era of the late 90s, early 2000s, because then we would be talking about Alex Rodriguez and Manny Ramirez being in the Hall of Fame. And neither one of them got more than 35% of their votes.
But Carlos Beltran with the Houston scandal got 57%.
Yes.
I would like to debunk what you just said because somebody pointed out a stat the other day that if you took all the major leaguers in the history of the game, they could not fill Busch Stadium, right? or an average. There's only 270 players in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you look at those numbers. That's pretty impressive. We say, they're constantly there's too many people in the Hall of Fame. 40 executives, 23 managers, 10 umpires. So Hall total, I guess this must be updated, is 343. I mean, it's still not a lot of people that go in on average. I know for a while there, the Baseball Writers of America had nobody go in, right up into like Ozzie Smith. But yeah, this one just feels egregious.
I feel like what I took away from that is that there's too many umpires that are in the Hall of Fame.
Shut your dirty horse mouth.
Give me robot ump.
The one umpire this group is going to take offense to that. The Hall of Fame is supposed to be cream of the crop. It's not supposed to be a high average. So the saying like, they don't fill Busch Stadium with the amount of inductees that they have, that feels a little arbitrary to me. I do think that it should be less, but I understand the point. I understand the sentiment behind that for sure. Any other names from that list that you feel like, I mean, we already talked about kind of Billy Wagner briefly and Gary Sheffield. Any other names from that list that you feel like missed out?
I thought this was maybe one of the worst potential classes in a decade.
James Shields, Jose Reyes got 0 votes.
Not shocking.
I want to know what motherfucker voted for Brandon Phillips, because Brandon Phillips got 1 vote, and I need to know who that is so I can never talk to them again.
He deserves
it's
one vote
Cincinnati
based on his defense alone. His defense is incredible. You ever watch his highlight tape? It's like watching Tavon Austin's college reel.
Hey, speaking of Tavon Austin and football, you want to jump over and talk some NFL? We made some predictions, Cameron. How did we do?
Cameron, how did we do?
Are we officially crowning a champion? Is really what I want to know.
We are not officially crowning a champion, pending how people vote. There is one person who is completely out of the running for the championship, and that would be our own editor and the host today, Sean Sproat, with 4 correct votes through 2 weeks. You didn't.
And you had 3 the first week.
You're gonna read them off here in a minute. And I'll tell you why. Go ahead.
So Sean, you picked Houston, Green Bay, Detroit, and Buffalo. The only one you won was Detroit. Can you explain your decision to go Houston?
So I was already behind, and I knew I needed to make like a big swing to get back into it. That was all it was. At no point before or during that game did I think Houston had a chance to win that football match. So it was just a big swing and just hoping that, by luck something happened. I did think Green Bay had a shot. I thought that of all of the matchups that had the most upset potential. And I think one of you guys said that on last week's episode as well. So that one I kind of believed in. Houston I did not believe in. Detroit, hell yeah. Let's go, baby. I'm all in on Detroit. I don't have an excuse for the other one.
Adam, who's not here, had Houston. He got Houston and Buffalo wrong. He got San Francisco and Detroit right. I had Baltimore, San Francisco, and Detroit right. Buffalo really let me down. And the current leader with 8 correct picks through 2 weeks and a perfect week last week, Kenny Hutton. Do you want to take your stage? You want to give your Hall of Fame speech?
No, I'm good.
Are you still recovering from jumping out of your suite shirtless and chugging beer with Buffalo Bills fans?
Yeah, my knees just don't work like they used to.
Did you make it to McDonald's to get your sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin or whatever it is?
I have not. I might still be in Buffalo.
Who's to say?
So what do you guys think was the best?
Where do you want to start? Do you want to? That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, do you think the Chiefs Bills game was the best game of the week? Because I feel like it probably was, just from a football standpoint.
I don't know. It might be unfair for me to say no, because I was watching it with obviously like a diehard Chiefs fan, and she was just on the edge of her seat. So it was kind of like I knew where she was at. Like I felt like this was like Game 7 Stanley Cup tension for me. Like, or actually better off when the Blues beat the Blackhawks in Game 7. Was it Game 7 in 2015? Like, yeah. I sat on our couch and like rocked back and forth like a mad person. I felt that tension on Sunday night, and I was just like, okay, it's interesting to be on the other foot.
Yeah.
I actually thought the Packers and the 49ers was probably my most entertained I was.
Okay.
Because at one point I was like, holy shit, the Packers are going to do it. They're going to upset this team. And I was like, at this point I was like, I don't even care about my pick. I just want to see them upset the 49ers. Right. So for my dollar, I think that matchup was more entertaining for me.
There was a point in that game where the Packers were up like 21-17, and there was like 6 minutes left, and I'm thinking like, come on, baby. Come on. I did it. I believe in you guys.
Yeah, I mean, those were definitely the 2 best games. I would say, I mean, the Detroit game was fun to watch. I don't understand why Tampa Bay didn't call the timeout whenever whenever Detroit snapped the ball early.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they decided to just let that game go away. I mean, granted, they had to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion in 30 seconds, but I mean, how do you miss that?
You do got to respect Todd Bowles' answer when asked about it, though. He's like, we weren't doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to at least put up the front like you think.
Yeah, but sometimes, you know what? Sometimes that's good, though. Like, you know what drives me crazy about watching basketball, especially college basketball, is all the timeouts and the fouling at the end. Like, sometimes just admit defeat. And that's what Todd Bowles did. And, he's probably going to get skewered for it. But I will say bravo to you that understanding that your team just didn't have it and it wasn't going to happen. So.
And it felt like everything the Buccaneers did, the Lions had an answer for. They
Correct.
Every time Buccaneers scored, the Lions came right back. And so you're kind of you might be, from a Todd Bowles perspective, you're looking at it like, no matter what we do, Like this is kind of meant to be in a sense.
I will say this. I thought the Lions got away with an egregious pass interference on their 2-point play.
Yeah, they did. I agree with that too.
I will also say that I don't want to hear Stephon Diggs bitch one more time about not getting the ball, about not being fed enough. When you get a perfect pass to potentially make a statement and you let it just go directly through your hands, and then you want to still sit and pout and complain about your quarterback. It's like, no, that's on you. Little bit of accountability. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Hit him in the worst spot, right in the hands.
You never want to have
Right where you don't
football
want it.
hit you right in both of your hands in a perfect basket. You never
Because
want that.
from the one angle they show, so the sideline angle, I thought the KC defender tipped it. And I was like, oh, what a great play. I think that was Snead. I was like, oh, what a great play. And then you see the inverse angle, and you're like, oh,
he
Diggs
wasn't even
just
close. Wide right Taylor's version. Whoever tweeted that first, hats off to you. That was great.
That might have been the most stolen tweet of the night, and I think we missed
Yes, we did.
a very bad opportunity to tweet it out ourselves.
I am a man of integrity. I will not be stealing tweets from people.
We
I
have
am
to
not.
reprimand our social media manager from that one. Do you guys want to?
You guys gonna dock my pay?
Is it even worth mentioning the Texans Ravens game? Anything to say about that one?
Baltimore scary. I hope that they beat the Chiefs. If there is 1 million Chiefs haters, I'm one of them. If there's 1,000 Chiefs haters, I'm one of them. If there's none, that means I'm dead. Fuck the Chiefs. I'm so over them, man. I can't stand living in St. Louis anymore when everyone thinks they're a Chiefs fan. I can't do it.
They've
I'm
taken
surrounded
over
now. My wife now has an In My Chiefs Era sweater that apparently she's a Chiefs fan now. This is news to me. And it is straining me.
So, listen, I mean, what did you expect St. Louis fans to do? Just like pick the Bears?
Pick anyone else.
But that's the thing. No, St. Louis fans are not going to gravitate to anything Chicago whatsoever because of the Blackhawk Blues rivalry. We will never, and Cardinals Cubs. We will never do anything to root for a Chicago team. So naturally, yeah, it would either be the Chiefs or what? Green Bay. They already had a following. Yeah, they had a following in St. Louis.
I would take Dallas over the Chiefs because at least Dallas isn't going to make it anywhere.
Don't do why?
You know Dallas is going to choke. That's fine. The Chiefs continuously win at a convenient time for all these St. Louis fans that apparently have been lifelong fans.
You know, what's really interesting about living here in North Texas and being surrounded by Dallas fans, kind of like how you are Chiefs fans, they all know that there's no shot from the moment the season opens. I have multiple people, including like my coworkers and my boss and all people I'm surrounded every day before the football season started. Like, oh, how do you feel about the Cowboys this year? And it's like, oh, 10-7, they'll be knocked out in the first round. And it's like, okay.
Who was the first owner to vote for the Rams to leave St. Louis?
Well, I don't know if he was
Jones.
the first. Was he the first owner? I know he called the meeting after the vote went through to bring him back into the room to change the vote.
The Chiefs owner was one of the top people because he wanted to capitalize on the St. Louis market.
Yeah, so the Chiefs owner was
and everyone
the Hunts.
fucking fell for it. Except for me. I still don't go to Walmart. I still don't go to Sam's. Fuck you, Stan Kroenke.
Well, I think I know what Cameron's going to be picking in the next round. You want to go ahead and let's jump to our picks. Who wants to go first? If we go ahead, Cameron. What are you going to say?
Just before we do the picks, standing so far: Kenny at 8, Adam at 7, me at 6. Sean, you're just here to have fun at 4.
Perfect. Okay. So Kenny, you need to go last then. And you said was it Adam was second?
Adam is second.
Okay. Well, since I'm out of it, I'm going to go ahead and go. So we have Chiefs and Ravens, right? And then we have Lions and 49ers. Is it Chiefs are traveling to Baltimore, right?
Correct.
Okay. Give me Ravens for sure on that one. And then I don't even know if there's really much to even say about that. It's just the Ravens look so good. Their offense is just they're going to run rampant over any team they play against. Lions and 49ers. This is tough because my head says 49ers. My heart really wants the dream to continue for Detroit. I'm going to pick Lions. Let's go, baby. Super Bowl bound.
All right, Adam is not here to make his picks, but he is taking Baltimore and San Francisco. I am also going to ride with Baltimore. I think their defense is great. I mean, hell, the Texans will file an offensive touchdown for the whole game, and Lamar Jackson is playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
And I am also going to ride with the Lions, just because I think if it ends up being Baltimore and 49ers, you know, there's already the script got leaked, so I think they're going to put a little addendum in the script and have Detroit go through, give us a feel-good story.
Okay, the leader of the pack, what do you say?
All right. In the NFC matchup, I will choose the Detroit Lions.
Wow.
And this is a matchup I'm willing to lose. But I think the Lions are the Disney Cinderella story. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions. And in the AFC Championship, I am going to pick – actually, let me do this first. All of you Baltimore fans who were tweeting out pictures of The Wire, where were you when The Wire was on TV?
Probably a lot of them weren't even born yet.
Well, that's probably fair. How many Omar's coming pictures? Bitch, you don't even know who Omar is. This is influential. Ballmer, come on, man. Where is Wallace? Come on, Stringer. Where is Wallace? I'm going to pick the Ravens.
What a twist.
Look, again, another matchup I'm willing to lose. I think the Chiefs are a team that probably matches up best with the Ravens, but Lamar Jackson right now is playing on another level. That's not to say if the Chiefs do shut him down, which might happen. Chris Jones is also playing out of his mind. But I think the Ravens are primed to probably win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Ravens.
Do you guys subscribe to the conspiracy theory about the colors of the Super Bowl logo? Because
no, I just think that's I think that's convenient.
Just coincidence, because it's happened for a handful of years. I'm
like
just
the last
saying.
3 in a row.
And if that's the case, that means we're going to get 49ers and we're going to get Baltimore, which is what Adam picked, right, Cameron? Which means if that happens, because Kenny picked the Lions, do we have a tie at the top of our pick'em at the end of the year?
Yes, and
We'll have a tie.
I think what we should do, we'll probably talk about this off air, is probably like Adam and I pick, and then we pick like total points or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to have to discuss that because that's a real possibility. In fact, that's probably the most likeliest of outcomes at this point. That's going to be interesting.
I mean, what's Sean
any final notes on
last? See if it
I knew you were going to bring that up. We'll have to talk about it.
We're
going to talk about it on a show. We'll come up with it next week. Ugh, dang it! Did I lose the last pick'em? I feel
yes,
like
you
lost.
did.
Son of a bitch. All right. Any final notes on any of these games, guys, before we get out of here?
I mean, I think Detroit's going to gash San Francisco with the run game. I think they're a little weak in the run. Packers ran all over them. So give me Jahmyr Gibbs to have 100 rushing yards on his own.
Just to put that in context real quick, the 49ers have the top they're the third best. I'm not saying it correctly. They're the third best against the run. The Lions have the 5th best rushing attack in the league. That feels like a wash for me, but I like it. I like where you're going with it. Kenny?
You should watch The Wire.
Cameron, where can people find us on our socials?
Yeah, if you want to see Wire references on Twitter, you can go to @PodRideThePine. You can go to Instagram @pod_RideThePine. We're on TikTok @RTP-Kenny. And we're on YouTube, Ride the Pine Podcast. You can also listen to our podcast wherever you can get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, I think iHeartRadio. I believe we're on. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Seen all of you guys out there recently. We appreciate you watching our stuff. And interacting, even if you're a bot.
Shout out to all of the subscribers we gained from the last short where we compared our Kenny look-alike of Jason Kelsey. So shout out to everybody who's come in. Welcome to the show. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. We are Ride the Pine. Have a good night.